with Vori Health, you operate in a really interesting space, and I have an appreciation for the statistic, but it seems it's 50%, up to 50% of folks have a musculoskeletal issue. Um, Tell us about how you first came about focusing on this particular side to health.
Yeah, absolutely. My academic background is neurosurgery. So I was at the University of Pennsylvania, Yale, and then more recently was recruited to Geisinger Medical Center to be their complex spine scoliosis neurosurgeon, was also recruited there to participate in their self-insured employer surgical centers of excellence program. Originally was attracted to neurosurgery because of the brain, but got very interested in also doing spine and went down the spine realm. And spine is the largest segment of musculoskeletal. And so that's sort of what drove me to get into it from a surgical perspective. And in the United States right now, depending on who you want to quote, the average person gets the wrong care for back pain. And so nobody's trying to be malicious at large, but the system has evolved over a long time. And it's broken, and it's driven by all sorts of incentives, and it's just not right that the average person gets the wrong care. Like, is that acceptable as a society?
Would love to hear about how you're able to, I guess, more adeptly assess patient issues and then how the solution works virtually.
Sure. Well, first thing I'll do is I'll be a little provocative. I don't think orthopedics is the right specialty to take care of orthopedics. And that's also picking on me. I would put myself in that bucket. The country's lost track that orthopedics is short for orthopedic surgery. I'm a board certified spine surgeon. I have no formal training in non-operative conservative care. None. Zilch. It's like asking the cardiothoracic heart surgeons to manage chest pain. Cardiothoracic surgeons are not cardiologists. They're not trained in the non-operative arm. And so part of the problem of as you watch this, us surgeons, this is me included, are pulled way too upstream. We're not the right specialists to take care of non-emergency conditions. First thing to recognize was, are you using the right providers? That was step one. So I don't think surgeons should be triaging a lot of the stuff. They have their place. Us surgeons should be pushed further downstream for care. So on the Vori side, we employed the cardiology equivalent. There is a physician. It's physical medicine rehabilitation and non-operative sports medicine. These are board certified medical doctors trained in musculoskeletal conditions from a philosophy of how can I get you better? With surgery, absolutely the last resort. When you see a surgeon, are you operative or not? Like that's just a very different philosophy. And if you put a physical medicine physician against a conservative orthopedic surgeon or spine surgeon like myself, they'll still recommend surgery 2 to 3 times less often. So that was step one. Next step was to practice in real care teams. Now, everybody talks about care teams, but I usually find most care teams, when you actually pull the onion back, are marketing ploys. And what I mean by that is a lot of folks will say they have a care team where they have all these people assigned to an individual. But is the care team actually working together? The analogy would be, if you have an accountant and a lawyer, that's your team. Does the accountant and lawyer actually talk to each other? Even though they're all assigned to you?
Mm-hmm.
Usually no. And so are the physicians and the physical therapists and the health coaches and the dietitians actually communicating and talking to each other about the patients? That's a real care team in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Versus there's a group of people assigned to you who don't communicate with each other. And so we wanted to make sure our care team actually works together. So for our complex patients, a physician and a physical therapist, so the specialty physician, see the patient together. So they do the exam together. And we were originally going to build clinics, and then the pandemic hit. So we shifted everything to a virtual first model. We still have in-person care through partnerships, because it's less about the modality. I don't think it's virtual versus in person. You can do practically everything virtually. We're having a virtual conversation right now. The world is hybrid. It's about how you practice medicine. It's about how you organize, and it's how you deliver care. And I would love to see the health verticals move away from this virtual, hybrid, in-person nomenclature. It's just care. No one talks about virtual banking or in-person banking or hybrid banking. It's just banking.
Hmm.
Nobody talks about virtual shopping, in-person shopping, or hybrid shopping. It's just shopping. It's just care. Um, and so now you have the right providers who actually practice medicine together, like as a real care team. Next step, now you have to practice differently. And so traditional medicine would train somebody to say, what's the matter with the patient? We flip that on its head. What matters to the patient? So on a first visit, we'll make sure that you don't have cancer. We'll rule out bad stuff. We'll make sure that there's nothing dangerous. That's rare, but it comes up once in a while. All right, let's assume there's nothing dangerous. The first visit flips to a motivational interview to figure out what matters to RJ.
Mhm.
Or Nancy. Nancy comes in with 10 nights on back pain. She wants to walk her kid Tommy to school every day. That's what gives her joy. But she feels she can't because her back hurts. Her care plan will literally be walking my son Tommy to school. The secondary endpoint will be back pain or neck pain or knee or balance, or I want to train for this marathon in October. I just want to walk around Target with my grandkids, like whatever that end activity is. Next thing, you have to teach people where pain comes from. Otherwise, they have resources, they will get infinite opinions until they hear what they want to hear. People are very much love confirmation bias. And even if they don't have resources, if it's an enigma, people worry too much. And so just giving people some basic foundational knowledge actually makes things less scary. Why is that important? One, their number one predictors of conversion to chronic pain is fear. Sounds crazy at first, but we all have an inner dialogue in our head all day long. What am I doing for dinner? What's the weekend? Is my boss mad at me? And we just run this monologue. People present to medical attention because they're worried about something usually, unless it's a wellness visit, but they're usually worried about something like, is my pain bad? Is there something going on? And if we've all been to the traditional medical office, nobody is trained at large to calm that narrative. Oh, do I have cancer? Am I going to be in a wheelchair? People want to know they're okay. Am I going to, and did you actually calm that narrative? So Nancy comes in at nighttime. She's laying in her bed, wondering when her pain is there. Is she going to end up in a wheelchair like her grandfather, lose her job, lose the mortgage, and never take care of Tommy again? And people who have a very high fear catastrophizing monologue like that almost always will convert to chronic pain.
Okay.
And so you need to deal with that in all folks. And then if you take all the people who have converted to chronic pain, we do things that I was never trained to do, pain reprocessing theory and fear exposure therapy for these folks who, on the chronic pain side, there's always an overactive nervous system component. They're not crazy. You have to work with them to help them change their thinking in addition to a biological model. And the analogy would be if you've seen a therapist or a mental health person, how does it work? How does seeing a therapist if you're depressed work? Someone who's trained in structured questioning, ask their patient questions about their life and their thoughts to rewire the nervous system. That's how it helps depression. Similar philosophy here in musculoskeletal or GI. What does holistic care really mean? Whole person, including their thoughts, their beliefs, their education. We have some people, if you remove their fear, all the pain went away. They're not all like that, but there is a very strong component about how people think about their environment. I could keep go on and on and on, but summary, right providers, real care team practicing very differently. That's a biopsychosocial model, not just focused on back pain, the whole person.
Maybe tell us a little bit about the efficiency that's created with Vori Health.
Yeah. We try to make sure we see patients if they're going to actually see a clinical team within 48 hours, sometimes faster. We'll move some of that to real time over time. But people can get started right away on their own, but to actually see board certified medical professionals, someday they can get same day. But usually we benchmark ourselves to make sure it's within 48 hours or less to actually have two providers at least be able to meet with you, if that makes sense. And then from there, it's a mixture of modalities. We can do more telemedicine visits. There's chat. There's asynchronous care. There's computer vision motion tracking. There's homework. We're standing up group care right now where people can actually, 10 people with back pain, this is opt-in, it's not required, can work with a professional together in addition to what they're doing, because we are social beings at the end of the day. And some people like to really be social. Why do people like to go to the gym versus their home? It's social. Why do people like to go out to eat? It's social. And so incorporating that socialness there. And then you have the physicians, PTs, PTAs, exercise physiologists, health coaches, dietitians, the list goes on, access to pain psychology, pain reprocessing, all under one group. And we can see patients in all 50 states in the District of Columbia. We can write prescriptions in all states. We can order imaging in all states. And so you have all of that access. And given that we were built on a 50-state chassis, one thing that we hadn't thought of originally, people like, when they go out of town, they can continue care, even though they cross state lines, because we practice in all 50 states in DC. We have some patients who are snowbirds, and they spend half their time in Florida and the other half in another state. And they can work with us as necessary all year and not have to change practices. They don't need two separate practices because we practice in all 50 states. So there's convenience and access. And then we will negotiate with the health plans. It's usually free to most people, not everybody, but we try to make it free to everybody to not have that be a barrier to getting evidence-based care.